We're all familiar with the three whats: what it is, what it can do for me, and what does it cost. Tyler Rickenaugh, Country Financial, can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your financial future, Tyler Rickenaugh, Country Financial, will make sure they are the first ones there when you need them most. Many young parents leave pages of instructions for the sitter when they have their first date night after the baby is born. But only 36% of parents with minor children in the U.S. have any sort of plan to protect their children if they don't come back. Don't be part of that 64% without planning. At the Wilson Law Group, located in Madison, estate planning is all we do.
Fostering deeper relationships, influencing behavior change, developing resilience. You're about to start winning. Here is your host, Christine Bright.
Welcome to Parenting Game. I am so glad you are here. My guest is Rosie Zilinskas, who is an executive career coach. I had the pleasure of meeting her at a conference, and what really caught my attention was her statistic about how girls around the age of 9 start losing their confidence. Rosie, thank you so much for joining me today. Now, I'm excited. We have changed how we're producing the show a little bit and wanted to bring a little bit more fun into it. Okay. So one of the things we're doing is a chocolate challenge.
All right.
So you get to pick which one we're going to taste, and then we're going to try to figure out what the flavor is. Now, I promise you, I didn't do anything really weird, so you won't have to worry about spitting out or gagging or anything, but we do have some interesting flavors.
All right.
So you get to pick. Which one are we going to go for?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Christine. I appreciate it. So I think we're going to go with the one with the little...
With the little dots
on it. The dots on top.
Let's see here. Hopefully it's easy to cut. Ooh, it is. All right, I'll take that one. You can go ahead and take that one there.
All right.
Okay.
We tasting now?
We're tasting now, so let's go.
Mmm.
I'm supposed to have a definitive flavor. I don't know. It has like a little spicy.
It's definitely dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't generally like dark chocolate, but it's definitely dark chocolate.
But I didn't catch like another defining flavor. All right, let's find out what we just delved into. So these are from...
It'll be very interesting to find out.
Gale Ambrosia here in town. Okay, where's the ones? Oh, that was sweet curry and saffron.
Oh,
okay.
That's why, because curry, I would never think of curry and chocolate.
I know, and I was going to say, I thought I felt like a little bit of heat in there, so that's the saffron.
Yeah, it is interesting.
So, yeah, there you go. Okay, let's cleanse the palate.
Yes, please. Good stuff.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for picking. So again, we met at a conference, and as I shared, what really piqued my interest was I was totally unaware about the statistic of girls losing their confidence around age 9.
Yeah.
But before we delve into that, you are just amazing in your career as your person, and also you're first generation Mexican American.
Yes.
So just share with us a little bit of your background. I know you have really risen on the corporate ladder scales. So just give us some pieces of that.
Yeah, so actually in June will be 30 years that I'm in corporate America, which is crazy to me. I cannot even imagine. But I was the very first one in my family. I'm one of 5 kids. My parents are both 100% Mexican. I'm 100% Mexican. I know I don't look it, but I'm 100% Mexican. And when I started, first of all, we lived in Mexico for a few years back and forth. And I started high school. And I didn't know, the first day of high school, I didn't know what a freshman, sophomore, junior was. So fast forward to the time that it came to start college, I didn't even know what a credit hour was or whatever, so I had to figure all that out by myself. My parents, God bless them, as much as they wanted to help me, they just didn't know, didn't have time. My mom had 2 other kids at home, so it was very difficult. So it is by the grace of God, I think, that I'm here because when I started applying for colleges, I moved to Illinois from Texas, and I applied to one university, and I got into the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and the rest is history. But it was a hard, difficult challenge because first day of high school, I wasn't fluent in English. So I had to kind of figure out all the language. Wow. I remember seeing a girl with a Huey Lewis and the News t-shirt on, and I asked her, like, what's Huey Lewis and the News? And she was like, oh, it's a band. And then I started watching MTV. So.
Oh my God! Back when MTV was
yes,
music videos.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't even know like what it is these days.
Now it's all kind of weird movies and whatnot.
Yeah. So college. So you graduate college. Learn to navigate.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
On your own, and which do you see now probably set you up for success of being able to climb that corporate ladder?
Absolutely. Just trying. Actually, it's interesting because I had to figure a lot of things out on my own, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit, like how much do parents do for their kids these days? So it's a completely different way of life now.
So you're doing the executive coaching, but you're also still in the corporate world.
I am.
So share with us what you do in the corporate world.
Primarily, I am a manager for an insurance company, and I do a lot of guidelines, workflow, stuff like that, but the main thing that I do is education and training. So part of my journey is that I onboard a lot of college-age graduates as new hires. And I noticed that on the first day of orientation, the first person that either asked or answered a question is always a male. And this is like 5 years running now. And it kind of got me thinking about, well, why is that?
Yeah.
And so then I started doing some volunteering, and so it kind of led me down a path of women in general just really need to be aware that they need to advocate for themselves. So there's a ton of information that I can talk about, when it comes to that.
I know, yeah, you're very passionate, about what you talk about. And, it's, not that there aren't men too that could benefit from this, so we don't want to exclude.
Right.
But we have statistics showing that it is primarily girls where we see this lack of confidence, dipping. So share with us what you had shared at that conference that started really igniting this for you.
So from what I just said as far as first day of orientation and the men asking a question first, I kind of just started doing a little bit of research. And I thought to myself, okay, well, what do we do for these young women to gain confidence in the workplace? And then when I was doing research, I realized that when it comes to lack of confidence, it goes all the way back. So it's not the employer's responsibility, it's not even the educator's responsibility, it's the parents really that have the responsibility, because girls' confidence peaks by age 9, which is just, that was shocking to me, shocking, because at age 9, girls are confident and they're happy about their bodies, and then I think they resurveyed those girls, and by age 12, their confidence just dropped significantly. So really, it's almost like, not almost, the parents can do so many things to have these young girls grow up with more confidence. And like you said, it's not to discount boys, but for example, statistically speaking, men negotiate salary 4 times more than women. So what that translates to is that a woman's salary over a career lifetime, they can make up to $2 million less than a male, simply by not negotiating salary. And likewise, when there was another statistic that I found that when we're talking about universities, college-age women are 2.5 times less likely to just ask a question in a lecture or in a seminar, because they're busy thinking about, well, maybe the speaker is too intimidating, or they're thinking like, oh, I wish I could just ask the question, that kind of thing. So they're all busy in their heads, whereas the males are asking the question.
Yeah, we do. We have that spaghetti brain that can really get into our way, and we do take in so much more of what other people, think of us.
Absolutely.
So share with us when you either talk to parents or you're working with girls, what are some steps, some tools that you give to parents, that you give to the girls to start helping with this issue? Because we know it's something that can change,
yes.
right? We don't want to think, my daughter hit 9 and it's just going to plummet. There are specific things that parents can do, that girls can do for themselves to keep that self-esteem up.
Absolutely.
And confidence up.
So one of the things, and by the way, I'm kind of in this camp as well, but there's the helicopter parenting, phrase, and you don't even necessarily have to be a helicopter parent, but when I was a kid, my parents were like, figure it out. And as, and the pendulum has swung so much from when the time I was a child, where like my parents' generations, they came from nothing, they had nothing. And then as time has gone on, like my generation, we worked really hard to, start trying to do a little bit better. And now a lot of us have kids that we've done too much for. And so one of the things that I say is, enabling is disabling. So when you enable them so much that you jump in and you solve pretty much all of their problems right away, you're disabling your daughter or son from gaining the know-how, like doing problem solving, that critical thinking on their own. We're robbing them from gaining that confidence. So that's one thing. Allow your son or daughter to problem solve on their own. Now that doesn't mean that you're not going to be there, right? It doesn't mean that you're not going to help them. But when they come to you and say, well, I have this problem, and I am a recovering, helicopter parent, it's like, instead of like doing it for them, because we want our kids' lives to be much easier than ours, right? And so the answer is not do it for them. The answer is ask them, well, what have you tried? What are some things that you think you should do? Well, what is the right thing? So ask them questions so that they can kind of go back and think about it and solve the problem on their own.
Do you see something specific, and I have an idea in mind, but why parents don't do that? What, in our society today, do you see as the biggest hindrance of why that's not happening?
Interestingly enough, I was just talking to a group of people about this very topic just on Monday. And I asked the question, do you find yourself, jumping in and problem solving for your kids? And a mom was going like this, and a dad was going like this. So I did talk to both of them after our meeting, and the dad was like, oh no, I tell my girls, because he's got 3 girls, to go figure it out. And he said, but my wife does exactly what you said. So I think it's almost, and I haven't done any research on this, so don't quote me on this, but it's almost like the mothers, we're so nurturing, we're so kind, and we're so loving. We want to make life so easy for our kids that we're the ones that are hindering, especially our girls, over our boys.
Yeah, and it comes out of a good place.
Absolutely.
We want to help. And I have also noticed with the families that I work in, so busy.
Yes.
There isn't, well, I shouldn't say there isn't the time. The time isn't made to slow down and just be able to communicate and take our time. It's out of a sense of urgency that I need to problem solve this because we gotta go.
Yes.
And that's another piece, is we gotta slow ourselves down and take that time. It's it's an investment.
Absolutely.
Investing process.
Yeah.
So share with us next.
So the next thing is out with the old Disney language, like the whole damsel in distress language of, oh, your prince is gonna come and save you type thing, or, oh, honey, let me do it for you, or I got it. And again, recovering helicopter parent here. So instead, use language that empowers them. You can do this. Praise them on their effort. And especially, I'm talking about girls specifically here, but praise them on the work that they're doing so that they can have that encouragement to keep going, instead of us, again, jumping in and trying to just tell them what to do. So that's another thing.
And what about focusing too? I see parents are more worried about that end result. They don't allow for the hiccups and the mistakes and the time to happen because we want to make sure that end result is perfect. Have you seen that as well?
So that's three. Allow your daughter to fail. And that I call that, you know, bruises build backbones, because when you let your daughter fail, it both bruises but builds her character. So, you know, when someone fails at a young age, they get that taste of, oh, that didn't feel so good. So then it's almost like they try harder. And the reality is that life is about problem solving from start to finish. So if we're constantly not letting our kids fail, and you know, this kind of goes back to everybody gets a trophy for participation, you know, that kind of thing. So we're doing our children a disservice by doing so much for them.
Absolutely. So share with me, like, you're, you know, and I know at our age we have so many stories of situations that brought on a bruise and then it built our backbone. But growing up, you know, as a young girl, especially with your situation, you know, you gave kind of an overview of learning the language, figuring out high school, college. Do you have a specific one that really comes to mind where in the moment didn't like it, but now you see how that has benefited you?
Yes, so I was a student at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, and financially speaking, I had to figure everything out for myself. So my mom was kind enough to get loans that I paid for, but they were in her name. And so I allocated all my money and I worked, but there was this one time where I had zero money. And for some reason, I was like so broke, and I'm really good with my money, budgeting, whatever. So I actually had to call my mom and say, Mom, can you please send me $50 because I have zero money? And of course she did, but that wasn't something that my parents could do at the time, you know. So for me to have to call my mom and be like, I am so broke that I need money.
And this was before Venmo.
Yes.
So you still had to wait for it.
Yes, absolutely. So she had to mail it to me. But that was very enlightening for me to have to call home and ask for money, whereas obviously there are other students at the college that just, you know, didn't worry about money, and I was like, gosh, that's just not fair. But in the long run, that taught me to understand that I was self-sufficient. That gave me, you know, the ability to problem solve. And so I'm one of 5, and we all have really good work ethic, and we're all very self-sufficient. But one thing that taught me is to make sure that I knew that I was the boss of me, you know, so I could take care of myself, manage my finances, manage my schooling, and I graduated with a job. So so that whole time was just very humbling.
Yeah, and defining. And too, what was great, if I may point out another lesson, is that you did learn there comes a point it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
And that is something else that's important for our kids. If we're always jumping in and taking care of everything for them, that's a skill they don't learn of, you know, where is that point, and that it is okay to ask for help once I've exhausted all my resources or strategies and I'm just done. You know, us being business owners.
Yes.
Same thing, you know, you have to, at this age, you know, we have a little bit more grit, and I have noticed there are times where I need to ask for help a little bit sooner than I do. So that's what I've, you know, been learning is, why did you wait so many weeks when I'm just a phone call away?
Yes.
And it's, well, I wanted to like figure it out, you know, so learning that balance.
Absolutely.
So you have, how many kiddos do you have?
I have 2 children. So my son Bobby is going to be 24 in the fall, and my daughter Missy, she just turned 21.
Awesome. And so when did you, I mean, you said you had to kind of make a switch.
Yes.
So when did this start clicking for you that you needed to make this switch in your parenting?
Well, it's actually been a process for me, and you know, I'm still in the process of separating because they're young adults. You know, they're kind of on their own, but not really 100% financially. So I have had conversations with actually both of them this year and said, you know what, by this time, you're going to be on your own financially. You have to be independent. You have to understand that you're adulting now, and this was your choice, so now you're going to have to, you know, take care of things on your own. So I'm in the process of transferring a lot of the little things, well, I shouldn't say little things, like cell phones and, you know, stuff like that. So it's a learning process, and being that they're young adults, but it has to happen. It has to happen because they need to understand that they are responsible for themselves now. They're both out of the house, and as much as, you know, I still want to help them, I almost have to hold myself back from helping them so that they can learn the lessons. And that's how they're going to become independent and self-sufficient individuals.
Yeah, and I think your little saying is great. I mean, I'm going to steal it. Yeah. I'm working with some parents now. That's been a new trend with my business, is helping parents with the adult children. And I think that's a great line that I'm going to give them, is like, when you want to take that leap and step in and you know you shouldn't, just remind yourself those bruises are going to help them build a backbone.
Absolutely.
So you haven't copyrighted that or anything
no.
yet. Okay,
Go
good.
ahead,
so I can totally take it. Do you see also parent guilt, mom guilt?
Oh my gosh.
That plays a part in how we parent?
Yes, so I was just having a conversation with a coworker who just had her third baby, and it was just disheartening because she was trying to figure out if she was going to leave work or not, and it's just that guilt of you being at work, thinking about everything that's happening at home, and then you're at home thinking about everything that you have to do at work. And you're not really present at either place.
Yes.
One thing that people or moms specifically can do is they have to let those thoughts go and just choose to be where you are, and choose, like you were saying earlier, to make that time and be with your kids and really be with your kids. A lot of times I notice when I'm out and about, especially in the summer, I see moms with strollers, they're walking the stroller and they're on their phone, literally, like they're driving the stroller or like pushing the stroller and they're on their phone, or they're at the park and the kid is like, mommy, mommy, and they're on their phone. We're so plugged in nowadays. It's kind of sad, because when I go to restaurants, there's the two parents and then they have two kids and each of the kids is on a phone. And there's no interaction with the families, with the parents and the kids.
And that's, you know, dinner time, I always say, forging leaders one meal at a time.
Yes.
You miss so many opportunities
Absolutely.
there. Oh gosh, our time is going by so fast. So there are a couple things I don't want to miss. So can you just review, just real quick, what we talked about with helping empower girls, those 3 top points?
Yeah, so enabling is disabling. That's the first one. Out with the Disney language. And then bruises build backbones. So those are the 3 things. So allow your daughter to problem solve on her own, use empowering language, and then let them fail. So those are the 3 key points.
Awesome. And 2 is, you can start this at any time. So I don't want parents to think that, oh, well, now my daughter's 12 or 13 and now it's a lost cause. We're neuroplastic.
Yes.
Is that a word? We have neuroplasticity. You can start it whenever. Start doing this and you can change, you know, their confidence level. I do want you really briefly, for moms though, because as you said, with your career coaching right now, your passion is helping women, empowering them to get what they deserve.
Yes.
Some quick tips for moms.
As far as their careers are concerned? As far as their careers are concerned, there's 2 or 3 things that I think people can do immediately. The very first thing is apply for a job if you're interested in it, because men apply for jobs having 50% of the skills, and women typically wait till they have 100% of the skills. So that's a really simple one. Women discount themselves without even trying. So that's one thing. Second thing is use your voice. Use your voice to ask for what you need at home and at work. and then negotiate salary. So you always have to negotiate salary, because if you don't negotiate it, you're leaving money on the table.
Absolutely. And then you brought this great book. So this is a great resource. It's the Girl's Guide to Growth Mindset.
Yes.
So they can get this Amazon, anywhere.
Yes.
And then there's also a version for women.
Yes, so there's a Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck for adults, and that book is an amazing resource because it tells you to praise your girls on their effort, don't praise them on their looks, and that makes a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. And then before we go, you have some exciting news. You have a podcast.
Yes.
So when is that going to start airing?
So the podcast will start airing in May, and it's called No Woman Left Behind.
And what is it going to be on, what platforms?
It will be on Apple and all of the podcast type platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that will be so exciting. And that one is going to be more just women, adult women, career type of focus.
Yes,
podcast.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, congratulations
Thank
on that.
you.
How exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time coming, but yes, it's finally here, so very excited about it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming and sharing. Again, as I said, we focused on girls because the statistics prove that this is a bigger issue for girls.
Yes.
But everything that you shared, boys or girls, this is just a way to empower your children.
Absolutely.
I often share too, I said, one of the reasons that you're probably so stressed and overworked is because you're doing too much for your kids.
I agree.
Give them the reins. They're much more capable than we give them credit for.
I agree.
So thank you again for coming and sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into The Parenting Game. We are on Facebook and Instagram.
We're all familiar with the 3 whats: what it is, what it can do for me, and what does it cost. Tyler Rickenaut, Country Financial, can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your financial future, Tyler Rickenaut, Country Financial will make sure they are the first ones there when you need them most. Many young parents leave pages of instructions for the sitter when they have their first date night after the baby is born. But only 36% of parents with minor children in the U.S. have any sort of plan to protect their children if they don't come back. Don't be part of that 64% without planning. At the Wilson Law Group, located in Madison, estate planning is all we do.
Thank you for watching The Parenting Game. All episodes of The Parenting Game are available on demand at sunprairiemediacenter.com.